Hey, English warriors. Welcome back to Making English Easy, where English doesn't feel like an exam, but more like a fun conversation with your favorite chai.
That's right. And today, we're diving into something super practical. How to speak English in those everyday situations that we all find ourselves in.
Like buying groceries, grabbing a coffee, chatting with friends, or even those work calls that can sometimes make us sweat a little.
Exactly. We're going to break it all down and give you the phrases and the confidence to handle these everyday moments like a pro.
So let's jump right into it. Let's start by imagining ourselves in a typical grocery store. You know the scene. Aisles full of colorful fruits, veggies, all sorts of biddies.
And you're there with your shopping list, ready to get what you need. But maybe you hesitate a bit when it comes to actually asking for things in English.
Right. We've all been there. Sometimes it feels easier to just point and gesture.
I totally get it. But speaking up, even for simple requests, not only helps you get exactly what you want, but also makes the whole experience smoother and more enjoyable.
It's like you're actually engaging with the people around you, not just playing a silent game of charades.
Exactly. So let's say you're looking for those juicy red tomatoes. Instead of playing a guessing game, try approaching someone who works there and saying, "Excuse me, could you help me find the fresh tomatoes?"
Perfect. Starting with, excuse me, is always a good way to get someone's attention politely. And could you help me find is a clear and direct way to ask for assistance.
And once they've helped you locate those perfect tomatoes, you might realize you need a few other things too.
Like that loaf of bread that's calling your name, and oh, how about some eggs for breakfast?
You could simply add, "Great, thank you. I'll also take a loaf of bread and a dozen eggs, please."
Easy peasy, I'll take, is a really handy phrase for indicating what you want to buy.
And again, ending with "please" just shows that you're being polite and considerate.
Absolutely. Now, let's fast forward to the checkout counter, the moment of truth when we find out how much damage we've done to our wallets.
And here, knowing a couple of key phrases can make all the difference.
Like when you want to know the total cost, what's the magic phrase?
How much does it cost? Straightforward and to the point. And since not all stores accept all forms of payment,
It's always a good idea to double check.
right, you can simply ask, "Do you accept cards?" if that's your preferred way to pay.
These are such basic phrases, but they can really make your grocery shopping experience a lot smoother and more stress-free.
And you'll be surprised how much more confident you feel when you can communicate your needs clearly. Now, shall we move on to our next stop?
Absolutely. How about that universal haven for caffeine lovers and conversation? The cafe.
The cafe is a great example of a place where the way you speak can really impact the interaction. It's not just about getting what you want, it's about creating a friendly, pleasant exchange with the barista.
Instead of just barking, "Give me tea," like some kind of caffeine-deprived dictator.
Which, let's be honest, doesn't sound very appealing.
Not at all. There are much more natural and polite ways to place your order. Like, if you're craving a cup of tea, you could say to the barista, "Hi, I'd like a cup of tea, please."
Perfect. "I'd like" is such a simple but effective way to express your preference politely. And if your friend's in the mood for coffee, they could chime in with, "Can I get a coffee with milk, please?"
Can I get is another great option when you're ordering drinks. And it sounds so natural and effortless.
Right. Now, imagine you've got your drinks and you're looking for a place to sit down. You spot an empty chair at a table with someone already sitting there.
What do? You can't just plop yourself down without checking first.
Of course not. A polite way to handle that situation is to ask, "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Simple, direct, and considerate.
And it's amazing how these small courtesies, like starting with "excuse me" and using "please" and "thank you," can really elevate your English.
It's true. It makes you sound more fluent, even if you're still working on perfecting your grammar.
Politeness goes a long way, not just in English, but in any language.
Couldn't agree more. It's like a universal language of kindness and respect. Okay, are you ready to tackle something that can be a little bit trickier for many English learners?
Bring it on. What do we got?
Let's talk about phone conversations.
Oh, yeah, those calls where you can't rely on facial expressions or gestures to help you get your message across. It's all about your voice and your words.
Right. And sometimes it can feel like the moment you hear that ringing tone, your English vocabulary decides to take a little vacation.
Haha, I've been there. It's like your brain freezes up. But, having a few key phrases up your sleeve can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. Preparation is key. So let's imagine a scenario where you need to make a professional phone call. You're calling to confirm an appointment, let's say.
Okay, so the phone's ringing, you take a deep breath. And
You answer with a clear and confident, hello, hi, this is your name speaking.
nice and simple. And then you need to get through to the right person.
You could say, may I speak to Mr. Sharma, please? Using may I sounds more formal and polite, especially in a professional setting.
Good point. Okay, so now you're talking to Mr. Sharma. What next?
Clearly state the reason for your call. You could say, I'm calling to confirm my appointment for 3 p.m. today. Short, sweet, and gets the message across.
No beating around the bush. And if Mr. Sharma confirms the appointment,
You wrap it up with a simple, perfect, thank you. It's polite, it's professional, and it acknowledges the confirmation.
now what if during the call you didn't quite catch what the other person said?
That happens all the time, even to native speakers. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification.
Instead of pretending you understood and then ending up in a completely different time zone for your appointment.
Exactly. A simple, could you repeat that, please, can save you a lot of trouble down the line. It shows that you're paying attention and that you want to make sure you're both on the same page.
So there you have it, a few handy phrases to help you conquer those professional phone calls.
And remember, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Okay, let's switch gears now and talk about something a little more fun and relaxed. Chatting with your friends.
Ah, yes. This is where we can let loose a little, be ourselves, and use English in a more casual way.
No need for fancy vocabulary or perfect grammar here. It's all about connecting with your buddies and having a good time.
So let's picture a typical conversation between two friends.
It might start with a casual, what's up? It's like the universal friend greeting, right?
Totally. And the other friend could reply with something like, nothing much, just chilling. You.
Chilling is such a relaxed way to say, I'm relaxing, or I'm taking it easy.
And then one friend might suggest hanging out later. They could say, wanna hang out later. Notice how wanna is a shortened version of want to. It's super common in informal speech.
And hang out just means to spend time together, doing whatever you enjoy doing.
And the other friend might be all in, replying with a simple, sure, sounds good.
These are just a few examples of the kind of relaxed language that flows naturally between friends.
And, there are tons of other casual phrases you can use. Like, if you want to catch up with a friend you haven't seen in a while, you could say, let's catch up soon. It's a friendly way to say, hey, I miss you. Let's get together and chat.
Exactly. And the key thing to remember about talking to friends is that it's all about the connection, the shared jokes, the comfortable vibe.
So don't get too hung up on perfect grammar or sounding super formal. Just relax, be yourself, and enjoy the conversation.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, ready to shift gears one last time.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
This time, let's head into the world of work. Those online meetings and office chats that are part of our daily grind.
Ah, yes, the professional arena where clear communication is key.
Whether you're working remotely or in an office, being able to express yourself confidently in English at work is essential.
It's how we collaborate, share ideas, give presentations, and get things done.
So let's look at some of the common phrases that you might hear or use in a typical work setting, especially during meetings.
Like, how about that moment when you join an online meeting? What's a good way to greet everyone?
You could start with a cheerful good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. It's standard, it's polite, it sets a positive tone.
And once everyone's settled in and it's time to dive into the agenda.
Someone might say, let's begin the meeting. It's a clear signal that it's time to focus and get down to business.
Well, let's say someone needs to share their screen to present something. How do they ask politely?
They could say, can you please share your screen? That please adds a touch of courtesy, even in a fast-paced work environment.
Right. And what if someone gets asked a question that they don't have the answer to right away?
It's perfectly acceptable to say, let me check on that and get back to you. It shows that you're taking the question seriously and that you'll follow up with the necessary information.
Those are some great examples of essential phrases for workplace communication. But there are also some slightly more advanced pro phrases that can really level up your English game.
Absolutely. Like if you want to schedule a follow-up discussion with a colleague, you could say, let's touch base tomorrow. Touch base just means to have a quick chat or meeting to discuss something.
Very handy. And what if you've been assigned a task or you need to gather some more information?
A simple but effective phrase is, I'll follow up on that. It assures everyone that you're on top of things and you'll take care of it.
And how about a concise way to acknowledge information that someone's shared during a meeting?
Thanks for the update. Short, sweet, and professional. Now, I do have to share one more phrase that's super common in the workplace, It's often used with a little bit of knowing humor, but it can be really helpful.
Oh, do tell.
Imagine this. You're in a meeting, and someone asks you a question that you need a little more time to think about. Maybe you need to gather some data or consult with someone else before you can give a proper answer.
I've been there for sure. That moment of panic when you don't want to say, I have no idea.
Right. Well, this is where the magic phrase comes in. You can smoothly say, let me circle back on that.
Circle back. I love it.
It basically means you'll revisit the topic later. It sounds professional, it buys you some time, and it doesn't make you look unprepared.
It's like a secret weapon for those tricky meeting moments. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today, from grocery store chats to boardroom discussions.
It's been quite the journey through everyday English scenarios.
But before we wrap things up, I think it would be super helpful to give our listeners a few quick and actionable tips for sounding even more natural when they speak English.
I'm all for it. These little tweaks can make a big difference.
Tip number 1, embrace those contractions. In everyday conversation, using contractions like I'm, you're, there sounds much more natural than saying I am, you are, they are.
It makes your speech flow more smoothly, and it just sounds more like how native speakers actually talk.
Tip number 2, keep your sentences short and sweet. You don't always need to build those complex multi-clause sentences.
Often, a simple and direct phrase like, I need help, or can you explain that again, gets the message across more effectively.
Less is more sometimes. Okay, tip number 3, avoid word-for-word translations from your native language into English.
It can be tempting to just translate directly, but languages have different structures and idioms. What sounds natural in one language might sound odd or confusing in another.
So try to think in English as much as possible. And finally, the golden rule. Practice, practice, practice.
There's no substitute for it.
Talk to yourself in the mirror, chat with friends, even have conversations with your pet in English.
Every little bit of speaking practice helps build your confidence and fluency.
It's like working out a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So there you have it, a bunch of practical tips and phrases to help you conquer those everyday English situations.
Remember, it's all about taking small steps, practicing regularly, and not being afraid to make mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes. It's part of the learning process. So keep those chins up, English warriors.
And remember, the most important thing is to communicate, to connect, and to have fun with the language.
Exactly. So keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep making English easy.
Until next time.
Bye for now.
Goodbye.